That's some pizza power right there, my dudes. My paisano Peppino spaghetti is the noise. A gross little gremlin of a man based around 80s Domino's pizza mascot the Noid, the third boss of the incomparable Pizza Tower, and star of his very own update to the game. Is this little guy more than what meets the eye, too? No! The Noise is everything that he appears to be. An in-your-face, obnoxious prankster who wants you to look like an idiot, and him to also look like an idiot. But a much cooler idiot than you could ever be. He's an effective use of space who has just enough of a snide and cynical leaning that lets him leave an effective, lasting impression. And as a playable character, he really is just more of that chaotic nonsense. But it's nonsense that's allowed to come together because deep down, he kinda hates everything. Especially you. Unless he's succeeding more than he ever has before. Looking at the Noise is like looking at a fightable or playable car crash of a man. A living midlife crisis looking to wreck everything in his path. A mental breakdown that is somehow different from the other playable mental breakdown we have in the same game. And if you stare into that gaping, empty abyss that is his eyes long enough, I don't know. Some of you seem to like it, I guess, so we'll talk about it, yeah. The Noise's inspirations come primarily from the obnoxious world of advertising. Through the 80s and into the early 90s, Domino's Pizza's main gimmick was the Noid, a bunny pajama-clad goblin man who embodied everything that could go wrong with pizza delivery, and who took glee in destroying precious pizza pies. He crushes pizzas, controls the weather to prevent them from being delivered on time, freezes them to be cold, is a wizard with aging magic?
Bombs?
But of course, Domino's Pizza is just too efficient and incredible, ensuring a speedy delivery and that you can get that gooey, hot, cheese-covered cardboard you've been craving with no compromise to the lack of quality inherent to it. Also, he had a video game that was a reskin of a ninja game, and he fought Crash Bandicoot before. I refuse to believe that isn't canon. The Noise is, at a basic level, all of these things in his boss fight. He's got direct references to the Noid commercials with analogs for the Noid's bombs, the pizza crusher. He's even got the skateboard from Yo Noid in there. And his job is to slow Peppino down with a bunch of obstacles to deftly weave through. In terms of being an antagonist for a game where you run really fast to ensure speedy and high-quality delivery, the Noise is a pretty inspired choice even before you take into account the obvious pizza theming. But then you toss in what he adds beyond just being a funny roadblock, and you start to get a really solid boss fight out of it. The Noise is all about making Peppino look like an absolute fool during the fight, be it tossing a skateboard at the chef and forcing him to ride it directly into pain, or making the little inflatable version of himself that is also a bomb for Peppino to blow himself up with. The only time that the Noise is vulnerable is when he's actively mocking his portly pizza-making competition, or when he's blown himself up with one of his own inventions. And even though he could just stop doing that, no, this man, he's an absolute egomaniac, demanding to be seen, television cameras all over, a direct analogy for his ego floating in the background and inflating itself just like a balloon for his second phase in proportion to his smugness. The Noise isn't just a pizza-hating little gremlin. He knows being one is his image, and he's playing it up to the absolute max. And that phrase, playing it up, is what's most key to the Noise's character. Because behind all the bombs and weird minions with pointy noses that stab you is some dude named Theodore. And he hates this. After you defeat the Noise, or rather after Noisette defeats her counterpart for you with the power of love, you can find the Noise smoking a cigarette in the hub of floor 4. And he's a bitter little guy. No cartoonishness, just looking to bust your kneecaps. And this one vindictive little moment is the launching point for Noise's entire character. The Noise isn't inherently this horrible annoyance. It's all an act. A character that's proven successful that he's glad to put out there. Pizza Tower comics delve even further into this. The Noise barely able to keep it together for a pizza-themed commercial, finding all of the grandstanding for the camera beneath him. And he can't even get drunk because Dougie Jones can only make pizza-flavored tequila. There's some real Hatsune Miku working at McDonald's energy coming from the Noise. But once he hears about a dude who runs really fast, oh, a spark is lit inside of him. All of that grandstanding he was doing becomes a genuine passion when there's a fat Italian to terrorize. Someone who can actually keep up to show up. He'll gladly throw himself into danger to fight this dude. He'll mock Peppino for all his worth. He'll even share this white liquid that isn't milk with his newfound rival. The Noise and Peppino are oddly excellent reflections of each other. One utterly destitute and flailing wildly in order to achieve a modicum of success, and the other flailing wildly because he's successful, worn down by the monotony of trying to keep it up until he finds someone trying to keep it up that he can bully for being less good at it than him. And it is utterly amazing to me that this character arc, stuck in a couple of comics and a background animation, is able to so effortlessly and completely define the Noise as a playable character. Unlocked by either beating the game as Peppino or successfully punching Peppino in the face 100 times on the title screen before he jump scares you, the Noise is decidedly a lot more odd than Peppino. The funny pizza man is pretty solid just running from one end of a stage to another. The combination of his dash, wall run, and dive creating this incredible fettuccine flow that plows through most enemies on its own. The player just needed to tell him when to jump. The Noise, by contrast, is significantly more frenetic. Noise doesn't wall run. He's got his skateboard to do sick tricks off of walls, requiring the manic mascot to keep pressing buttons in a combination of, "Oh, I hope you know what you're doing," and "How do you do, fellow kids?" energy. His ground pound pizza press is incredibly committal, but he can instead opt out of it for an incredible flexible spin attack, transforming into a tiny tornado that can break obstacles and tear through enemies, but doesn't make enemies afraid of him, so any pointy bits will instantly stop him in his tracks. Heck, he can even combine these techniques, canceling the pizza press into a 6 skateboard trick, then back into another press, ad infinitum, which means
you can fly!
The Noise is too big of a star to fight bosses on their own terms, so he'll just throw a bunch of bombs at them, replacing needing to actually interact with well-thought-out boss patterns with holding back and spamming projectiles. Something that requires its own rhythm and royally screws up muscle memory. And every single stage element that Peppino interacts with, yeah, the Noise will do him just a little different. Stuffing entire rockets down his gullet so he instantly bounces off walls. Able to stop his momentum entirely in barrels, but not naturally changing direction. Not befriending Mort the chicken and tossing him by the neck as a professional chicken choker. Everything that the Noise does is made to be just a bit more complex than what Peppino has to offer, going against the natural flow of a level. If you're looking at it from a pure game design standpoint, the level flowing well and the player knowing what to do at all times, the Noise is outright worse than Peppino on this intellectual level. But yeah, that's the point. And he sure doesn't feel bad in spite of that. The Noise is made to be an insult to and showing up of everything Peppino is doing. You could care about balanced and good game design and merge the high-octane action of your platformer with this careful golf minigame, which is really well considered and would make a good video essay for losers online. Or you could just cheat at golf and keep hitting buttons to keep the combo up, idiot.
Nice par, loser.
You could look at the defeated sprites of your enemies on the overworld as it builds the world around you. But what if you just killed them instead? You could treat the game as a platformer that you steadily get better at a healthy way. But the Noise hates that. Why are you going for anything less than an S rank? He hates you for even trying. The Noise is a playable midlife crisis, throwing away everything the Peppino does and trying to do it just a little better, a little cooler, a little faster, a little different, pushing that skill ceiling a little higher. And it feels great going for it. Noise is perhaps the truest form of a new game plus. Not giving players a more powerful character, but one with an even higher skill ceiling, showing what could be done with a force that can break the game over his knee, as long as you're good enough to reach his potential. And he marries it elegantly with his character, permanently murdering his boss replacement from this weird noise reproduction facility via Pedito's uncontrollable rage. Not relying on friends like Gustavo and Brick when he can just do the whole thing himself. Having unflinching confidence at every boss fight because they can't kill someone who's dead inside. Transforming into his ultimate form, Noise Blanco. Not out of Peppino's endless rage and panic, but kind of just wanting the game to be over by this point and get his reward. It is a pure, egotistical dash to the finish. But of course, it all comes to a head in the game's brilliant fourth boss fight. An oozing mass of envy, clambering for even a single gasp of freedom, chasing an endless dream that refuses to. Whoa, okay, well, fuck, dude. Never mind. See a therapist, man. I'm freaking out here. Jesus Christ. That's the Noise! There's not a whole lot there. Little dude's an egotist who's gonna break down in a slightly different way than Peppino, trying to show off how cool he is by doing everything a little different but faster. It's not a ton, but it's fulfilling and fun, and it fits with Pizza Tower's energy, so shut up. The Noise as a second character could have so easily been a footnote of minor changes to Peppino's stats, or some unfinished build of his boss fight made playable to be thrown around as a busted novelty. Instead, the Noise breaks the game in a totally unique way, proving that he can be faster and better than Peppino, but you gotta really try, because he's intentionally mucking up any situation where the game would make things more automated and comfortable for you. He's a different kind of sad sack than Peppino, one where his own overcompensation and efforts lead to his self-destruction, and he wouldn't have it any other way. How else do you have fun in a world you've already found success in than by breaking the rules to raise that bar just an inch higher? That, you delicious pizza putzes, is how you design for a breakdown.